Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Quarbit, your host today for Quarbit Universalis 4, and this is a little bit of a different kind of video, you know? It's not really as much of a scripted thing as it is, well, you know, I was working on a scripted video, but I realized I definitely wouldn't have enough time to get it done tonight. But, while I was doing my research, you know, I'm just, you know, surfing around on the EU4 Wiki, and I found this little page called Jargon. And you know what, I decided it would be time to have a little bit of a fun afternoon here. I think it'd be a little bit of fun to take a look at what the wiki thinks people tend to call things. There's a ton of stuff, so I'm probably just gonna go through like a bunch of this stuff and see, you know, what's the stuff that you use, what's the stuff that like you'll generally hear, and the stuff that you probably won't ever use or hear in your entire life, and I don't actually know why it's here. So let's just get started. You know, starting at the very top. Of course, it's just communities surrounding EU4, and they have their own jargon, including slang terms and acronyms. You'll mostly just see this stuff on the subreddit. I don't know if there's more than one EU4 subreddit for like other weird things. I know there's a dad jokes one, which I am subscribed to. It's very funny, but yeah. Essentially, you're not going to see a lot of these things, but let's just go through it anyway. So, AAR, I have seen this a lot, mostly in Hoi games, not really as much EU4, but it's essentially like a player recounting of their game. Yeah, okay, that's exactly what it says. It's basically you just go through what you did, and, you know, you pretend that you are, like, either a leader of a country or something like that, or you are the country. You, like, reenact it, kind of, as a story. Yeah, in some sort of way. AE, that's one I use a lot. Aggressive expansion, obvious. AI, that's something you use even without EU4, so I don't know if that's considered an EU4 jargon, but okay. The Big Blue Blob, I don't really see this one too much, really, like, at all, to be 100% honest with you. It's just called, you just call it the Big Blue Blob. It's, you don't call France the Big Blue Blob, you call the achievement the Big Blue Blob, and that's pretty it. It's probably hasn't ever been called that, but okay. BROT, Better Relations Over Time, obviously since patch 119, okay. So I guess it just isn't used ever. BT, base tax. People just call it base tax generally. If it's something that's too long to say, is when people will shorten it down into letters, but you know what? People just generally call it base tax. It's not that much. The BWB, the Big White Blob. Again, not something people generally ever use, but that's cool. BZE, Byzantine Empire, okay. Play it mainly for a challenge, unless you're budget monk, of course, then you just play it for fun. CB, yeah, I use that a lot. Casus Belli, obviously. CCR, I do use that often. I think I see a lot of people use this one often. It's just easier to say than core cost reduction. It's easier to write than core cost reduction. When it comes to like base tax, though, that's whatever. Anyways, COT, that is one I think is used. It looks a little bit odd just because the O is lowercase, but yeah, okay, I think that's pretty much used. Rarely CCOT and ICOT for coastal inland, okay. I don't think people really use the CCOT and ICOT ever. I think it's just there just in case someone does use it and then it won't be wrong. CTD, crash desktop. You know, it's funny because, you know, that happens a lot. Generally when you get like your really nice air dies, it just, for some reason that's a bug in the game they never end up fixing. It's just when your air dies and he's really nice, he just tends to crash the desktop. That's a little bit odd. Hopefully they do patch in the future, but you know, you'll be seeing a little bit more of CTD probably. And then you have the DHE, Dynamic Historical Event. I don't think that's really something people say, to be 100% honest with you. I think that's a little bit of someone who thinks they're up to date with the community, thinking, yeah, I don't think this has been updated in a long time. I mean, it says the article's timeless and should be accurate for any version of the game. But it's not really updated, is it? I don't think a lot of people generally use a lot of things, and you'll see what I mean a little bit later. I think I saw something down here, like Birdman or something, so we're going to go back down here later. All the acronyms we're going to go through here, so. Downloadable content, DLC, that's used in like pretty much everything. DOTF, yeah, I think I've seen that every now and then. DOW, I've seen that a lot, tons of times. EU4, obviously, dumb. FOW, Fog of War, that is something I think I've seen. Maybe. I've never used it, I don't think. Then you got GB, Great Britain, obviously one that's, I think that's one that's used pretty often. I think I myself say GB a little bit. GH, never used that. Literally never in my entire life have I ever seen the Golden Horde or Great Horde referred to as GH. Maybe in the past. Not really anymore though. Then we have the GM, the Game Master. I have never played multiplayer, but I imagine if I did, I would be seeing this a little bit more often. Then you got the HRE, obviously. That's pretty much, if there's anyone that I'm talking to that knows what the Holy Roman Empire is, I'll say HRE in hopes that they'll just get it instantly, and if they don't, then I'll explain it. It's more of a default to say HRE to me than to say, well, Holy Roman Empire. So, I don't know. Imperial Authority, whoa, what is that? Oh, I know what that is, actually. That's, obviously, I've never formed the HRE, like the country itself, so I guess, I'm not really into the whole HRE thing. I think it's interesting, but I just find it a little bit more boring, because the expansion aspect of it is, it feels slow to play. It does feel slow to play, in my opinion, so. Imperial Authority, I guess that is something, if someone was really into the whole HRE thing, I guess they would use that a little bit more often. Then I got the MP, Monarch Points, Military Power, Manpower, or Multiplayer. Wow. You're gonna have one little abbreviation or acronym or whatever for 4 different things. That's a little bit embarrassing. I don't think this is used for literally anything. I don't think I've seen MP used any situation other than multiplayer. I'm pretty sure that's it. MTTH, okay. Mean time to happen. I know what that means. I have never seen it used like that. Usually someone describes it as something like, you know, it can happen between this age, and they usually have monthly percentage ticks. But I don't think anyone's ever used MTTH. Maybe they have, but I've never witnessed it myself, so I don't know. National ideas, usually I just call it national ideas, obviously. OE, I use it in scripts. I don't really say OE ever. I usually just say overextension. Ottoman Empire, that's never been used like that. Okay. OOS, probably, you know, if I played multiplayer, I'd, you know, see a little bit more of this. Then, of course, we got, like, OP, overpowered, you know, obviously. OP could mean original post over thread. That's a Reddit thing. That's definitely a Reddit thing, more than like, a jargon thing. I guess Paradox Forums, I guess, technically, you guys could use the OP, but okay, fine. OPM, One Province Minor, that is one I use very, very often. You know, refer to literally basically anyone inside the HRE. You'll see OPMs, you know, just a whole bunch of letters together, and people are expected to figure out what all these mean. So glad we have this page, though. You know, great. PC, personal computer, or more specific to EU4, people controller. Now listen here. That's not EU4 jargon, right? If you're gonna put PC, don't add like this part. Just say people controller if you're gonna be real about it. And besides, I don't refer to people controller as PC. I just call him Pope. That's just how it works. Like, can we be Pope or like Curia controller? That's usually what it's referred to. Like in game, it's actually called Curia controller, I think. So people controller, that's not really a thing anymore. I don't think. Maybe the PLC, that is something I use, I think, and I see it a lot. I'll also just say Commonwealth a lot. That's really what it's called. PP, power projection, that's not something I don't think anyone uses, probably for various reasons, recently. And then we got PTI, Permanent Terra Incognita, also called Wasteland. What? Hi? PTI, that's what? Permanent Terra Incognita. I mean, it's not Terra Incognita anymore. Like, you can see it. Terra Incognita is something very different than what they're describing here. Permanent Terra Incognita does not exist in the game. Wasteland does, yeah, and they can't be colonized or explored or moved around or anything like that, yes, but they can still be discovered. You can see the map, so I don't really know. It says it's timeless, you know, should be accurate for any version of the game, but I don't think this is a thing that exists anymore, so I don't think it should be there. I don't know. Also, do they think that, like, nothing else comes up that's new or anything? Like, if you say slang like this kebab here? I don't know, it better be here. I don't think it is. I don't think it actually is here. So, obviously, they're missing a couple of new things. I don't know how far back kebabs go, but... okay, where were we? Let's go down here to... Personal Union PU. Yeah, that's one that's used a lot. PU to Ming. Oh, get out of here. Okay. Whoa, QFTNW, Quest for the New World. That is not something that anyone acronyms. That's not a word. Is it a word? I don't know. Acronyms? I don't think anyone acronizes. I'm going to try it the third time here. I don't think anyone does it that way. If they do at all, I don't think anyone does. Royal Marriage, obviously, we just call it Royal Marriage. We don't call it RM, like, ever. Maybe someone does. Definitely I don't. RNG, that's something that's used pretty much around the world when it comes to, you know, code and stuff like that. RNG is not a simple thing that only applies to EU4. It happens pretty much all around you in any code you look at. It's probably some sort of RNG. Then you got the RNW, the Random New Worlds. I might have seen this once or twice. I don't recall where it would have been. But, okay, I'll let this one pass. I'll let it slide, because I think I've seen it before. ROTW, definitely something I have never, ever used or seen in my entire life. But apparently refers to the rest of the world. Generally refers to all areas outside of Europe. Well, that's a pretty Eurocentric view. I don't actually mind that, but interesting how this was apparently once a thing ever used. You see, I don't watch a lot of the, you know, the stuff with DDR Jake and, like, all the commentators and the guys who play the, what is it, the dev battles or something like that? The dev clashes, that's the one. Yeah, I don't really watch the dev clashes, so maybe they use some of this stuff, and maybe they think it's cool that this might be something people use, but it really isn't. They got S-P, Sardinia P8 Mall. I don't think, again, is something that's ever written this way. SW, Succession War. That's possible. I could see it. I could see it really being a thing. I wouldn't mind seeing this. This could be a thing more often, SW. And then there's the one that I'm trying to get, use a little bit more. What's it called? It was ABS for absolutism. Because if you say it too much, it doesn't sound like a word, and you hate yourself for saying absolutism too many times. I learned that after making today's script that was for tomorrow, but it's gonna be next weekend because I'm not quite done that one yet. But ABS, I want that to become a thing for absolutism. It's better to say ABS than absolutism, in my opinion. Anyways, then we got Terra Incognita. I don't think anyone refers to it as TI, but I wouldn't mind again if it was. That'd be fine. Then TO, Teutonic Order, definitely something I've never seen. TPM, 2 or 3 Province Minor, that is something I don't think I've ever seen. And I wouldn't like to see, because it just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right in my opinion, the TPM. So we're just gonna let this be its own thing, and just like, we're just gonna pretend this doesn't exist. WAD, works/working as designed. WAD, okay, I'm sure this is a thing that's... Okay, I like the fact that working as designed, it's clearly a sarcastic sort of thing. It's like, you know, it's obviously wrong when you say it's working as intended. Yeah, you know, usually I say working as intended, not as designed. That's interesting. Okay. World Conquest WC, that's one I see often. Yeah, it makes sense. That's definitely something. Then we got World War Exhaustion, WE, okay. Okay, I could see that being a thing. I could see that being a thing, because it's just long enough that you could, like, turn it into an acronym. Okay, yeah, that's cool. WETN, Western Europe Trade Node. No longer exists, okay. I'm glad, first of all, I'm glad it doesn't exist anymore, and I am... That's a disgusting acronym. WETM is an acronym in of itself just referring to one trade node. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Okay. Let's move on to some slang. This is pretty much its own... I think it's supposed to be, it's kind of an acronym, but it's not really. It's like turned into, you know, just 3 letters. ADM, I don't ever refer to admin as ADM. You know, obviously I just said admin. It's what I refer to as administrative power as. Yeah, ADM is, maybe it's something, if you typed it, you'd say ADM. I often type up admin anyway. RD, artillery, that's never something I ever use. Bad boy, the accumulation of aggressive expansion. Never heard that, but I would be more than glad to bring that back. That is hilarious. Bad boy. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna start using this now. If you guys see me using this in my videos, you know why. We're gonna start calling aggressive countries bad boys. Okay, birds. We got using Alt F4 to close the game. Oh, that's interesting. Where did that come from? Oh, what? Clearly no one does this. It's obviously just a bug. Okay, that breaks the game every time a good heir dies. You don't know why it happens, it just does, okay? Alright? This is not a thing that ever happens, obviously. And then we got Blob, a large nation that tends to get larger over time unless checked. Named after how many large nations' expansions can leave them with irregular borders resembling blobs of paint. Yeah, okay. I say Blob a little bit. Oh, yeah, okay, I'll let it slide. I'll let this one slide. Alright, and moving on, we got Carpet Siege. That is something that I use. Well, I use it a little bit. I don't use it as much as I used to, because I started carpet sieging a little bit less. It's a dangerous tactic. It's definitely a dangerous tactic unless you know exactly where the enemy is and, you know, exactly how much they have in various locations. So carpet sieging is something that you can do, but I don't often mention it while I'm doing it. It's sort of redundant. Just be like, oh, look at me carpet siege while you're carpet sieging. Like, okay, it's cool. Then cav, yeah, I use cav a little bit. Cavalry, obviously. We got core, use as a verb to make a province a core province. Yep, coring things, that's something that I'm pretty sure everyone uses just as default. Then we got country can into space. Yeah, no, I don't ever use that one. Literally ever. No, it's just the Poland can into space. I'm pretty sure that's an achievement too. Yeah, just getting all the tech levels as Poland. Okay, yeah, you don't really ever say country can into space. It sounds awkward, okay? It just does. Alright. Clay, that is also, yeah, it's a Poland ball meme. I know that one. One's rightful land. Yeah, okay. That's cool. And then we got dip. I always call it Diplo, not dip, because, I don't know, dip just sounds weird. Yeah, okay. I just call it Diplo. We got dip rep. No, I probably call it Diplo rep. Or just Diplo reputation. Or, yeah, no, probably just Diplo rep. Diplomatic advisor. Ah, man, what do I often call it? Now that I'm actually looking at the terms, it just makes me draw blanks. I'm not playing the game. I'm pretty sure I just call it, like, Diplo rep. I'm pretty sure it is. Or diplomatic reputation. You know, either way, it works fine, but Diplo rep is usually what I say. Then we got the daycare. I've never, ever seen this before. I'm interested to learn a couple things today. Apparently, they used to call the HRE, the daycare, before the reform, Oh god, I'm gonna try to pronounce that. Have you got Lanfried? Friede? Yeah, okay. One of those. I probably pronounced one of those words correctly somewhere. So usually from the Emperor's perspective, okay, yeah, because you have to look after all the Germanic states and try to keep them in order during the Reformation and stuff. Okay, I can see that. I can see that being a thing. I don't think I've seen it be referred to that ever, but you know, it could be a thing. You know, I don't judge. Just call it the daycare. Call it whatever you want. Cool, totally fine. Diplo Annex, yeah, that's one I'm pretty sure is used universally by people who play the game. Doomstack, Death Stack. I usually call it like a death stack, when you get everyone together and you just go and you just murder things. You know, that's what you need to do sometimes to win. Just stack up everyone together and just death stack. I don't ever call it a doom stack though, because it sounds too much like Doomsday, which is like the event that Mesoamericans get. Mesoamerica? That's the right one? Yeah, I think it's the right one. Mesoamericans, like the Aztecs. Those are the ones, yeah. And we got feeding, short for vassal feeding. Okay, sure. I usually just call it like vassal feeding. Okay, that's cool. God King, Sultan Emperor, okay. I usually just call them godly or godlike or something like that. I don't call them like... Okay, that's fine. You can do that if you want to. I don't think I've ever seen it referred to as like a God King or Sultan or Emperor. But maybe, okay. And Grayskin, the Holy Roman Empire comes from its gray color. That usually sounds a little bit more like a racial slur, Grayskin. And by dismantling the HRE, apparently is what you get for... I guess you just call it remove grayskin. Yeah, okay, I don't like using that one. It sounds too much like it's supposed to be a racial slur, and I don't like it. But I'm glad I don't really see it, like, ever. I don't think I've ever seen it, except literally on this forum. So that's gonna be interesting. And infantry, I just call it infantry. I don't call it inf. Yeah, that's just... there's some things in this world that can be shortened down. Infantry is really not one of them. Inf just doesn't sound right. It just doesn't. And you can't call it fantry. You can't call it infant. You can't call it inf, man. Just call it infantry. That's okay. Then you got mana. I don't ever call it... Do I call it mana? I don't think I do. I think I just call it monarch points, straight up. I don't think I've ever called it mana. I've heard some people call it mana. I think... someone's got to confirm this for me, but I think... Maybe... Does a Roomba say mana? Does he, guys? I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I've heard him call it mana at least once or twice. But yeah, monarch power and stuff. Paper mana, that's definitely something I've never said or heard in my entire life. Bird mana and sword mana, again, all things I have literally never heard in my entire life. Pope mana, just stop, please. Also called king. Okay, that's enough of that. Let's just, okay. Crown/hat mana. No, I've never called it this. I've never seen anyone call it. I've never heard anyone call this crown/hat mana. If someone wants to do that, go ahead, by all means. I might judge you a little bit, but not too heavily, okay? So just go ahead if you want to, it's totally fine. Eagle mana for Imperial Authority. I mean, you can either call it IA or Eagle mana. I don't think anyone calls it Eagle mana because that sounds like a really 2000 sort of thing, and it's nearly 2020, if you can believe it. Well, not nearly, you know. It's nearly the middle of 2019 is what I'm trying to say. We're getting closer to the 2020, so I think it's a really 2000s thing to say Eagle mana, even if this game came out in 2013, so I don't know what to say, I don't know what to tell you. It just sounds 2000s to me. We got mill, yeah, okay, that's the one I can actually agree with. I do call it mill. I do call it mill points. Mill tech, all that stuff, that's totally cool. Ming Explosion, that is something I think I've used before. I've posted a Ming Explosion before, I'm pretty sure. I think everyone has, once or twice in their lifetime. If you've been on the, you know, the Reddit, the EU4 subreddit, you've probably posted your own Ming Explosion before. It's just something that happens. This is more common without the mandate of having DLC, but goddamn, with the amount of times I have seen it happen, I don't even know if they have the statistics to back that up anymore, so we'll see. Mod, okay, everyone knows what mod is. Nuke, use of an exploit. My nuke for this playthrough is the mission exploit. Okay, I've never heard it called a nuke before, but okay, that sounds a little interesting. We got auto. See, I don't really ever call it the Ottoman Empire the auto. Usually, I'm pretty sure the subreddit has put a little bit of a ban on calling the Ottomans the kebab for a little while. It might come back later, but it's pretty popular to call the Ottoman Empire kebab. I don't know. Anyways. Pips. I do call things pips. I do like to call things pips a lot. Because it feels nice, and I think I picked that up off of Cool 18 actually. He used to call things pips. Probably does still call things pips, but now I call them pips too, because why not? Saves coming, reloading earlier saves when something goes wrong in order to set things right. That's something I used to do a lot when I was a newer player, but now I like to play a lot more Iron Man. I am starting to get back into, or not back into, I'm starting to get into the whole Iron Man thing before, making the right decisions, getting things, you know, done the right way so you don't have to go back and save scum. Then we got Shell Short for vassal shelling. Whoa, I have never done that, and I have never heard of that. Surrounding a nation with an outer shell of vassals. Interesting. I don't know why this would ever be useful. I don't understand that, but okay. Snake usually, I think I usually use it as like a verb, you know, when you're snaking your way to like a province or something. You know, snaking your way to provinces so you can form a nation. That's something that's usually used often. We got stab, short for stability. Yep, okay, stab hit, that's definitely something, definitely Arumba uses. Maybe Flurry? I think Flurry uses it too, for stab hit. And stack a group of regiment, yep, that's definitely a thing. Timmy! I do call them the Timurids the Timmy. I also have a friend named Timmy, so that's, well, not Timmy, I just call him Tim. He hates it when you call him Timmy, don't do that. But yeah, the Timurids. I do call the Timurids Timmy, because why not? Then we got Olm Gone Wild. No, that's never something I've ever seen before, but okay, totally cool. Then we got a Vassal Swarm. That is something I think I've seen a lot more frequently with the new Ryukyu strategy. The ability to reform into a shogunate, which is, yeah, I don't know if that's intentional or not. But if it was intentional, if it was not intentional, they haven't patched it. And if it was intentional, then why? Why is this a thing? It's disgusting. What is it called? Like the Shadow Shogun, or something like that. Pretty sure is the strategy or something. I don't remember who it's developed by, but I remember it's something like that. I'm pretty sure. We got Vulture, another word for scavenging. Okay, I don't know exactly what that means. If I could take a best guess, I'd say maybe Vulture refers to, like, I guess when a nation gets completely torn down by a couple other ones, they got truces with everyone except you, and you're right up on their border, you know you're gonna go down for a little bit of a scavenging, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna go down and just tear them apart. It also happens when, like, a country releases a brand new country against your border, because, like, rebels or something like that, and that country has no allies or anything, but you have claims, because they're right on the border. Yeah, you're going right after them. That's scavenging. But I've never called it Vulture before, though. We got War Deck. That's something I've heard, but I don't use it myself. Warmonger. That's something I usually don't use because it reminds me too much of Civ 5. Not that that's like a bad thing. I love Civ, but often I don't know. It's too connected to Civ 5 for me to use it as an EU4 term, I think. Warmongering. Whack-a-mole. Dealing with constant rebellions. I would love to see this one come back. I've never really seen this one. But I would love for it to come back. That'd be great. It'd be fantastic. No, Whack-a-mole, great, dude. Yeah, let's do this. Then we got AAR. Okay, let's read this sort of thing. Are threads posted to the EU4 written by players about their ongoing games? They can be written from the player's personal point of view, or can be written from a fictitious narrative perspective, like a serialized novel. Some writers also blend the two elements, going from a metagame discussion to a fictitious narrative set in their game's alternate history world. Player point of view, I had rough times as Austria this last session. It started when Ulm, that darned OPM, suddenly brought in half the HRE against me when I declared on him. In all my playthroughs, this is the first time I ever was faced with such a nasty coalition. Before I knew it, not only was I facing the coalition, but the Ottoman Empire decided to make a DOW on me while I was in the thick of it. And then there's fictitious narrative. The Emperor sniffed offendedly at the ambassador of Elm, who stood resolutely defiant regardless of the withering glance directed at him. And that is my phone. What do you mean that the Archbishop refuses to accede to my demands? You realize that I shall have to invoke my powers to have him removed as an elector. Yet the ambassador shocked the court with his retort. If that is the sort of tyranny your imperial majesty wishes to promulgate upon his vassals, then perhaps it is time for another prince to rule in his stead. He further shocked the court with this revelation. Know this, that Bohemia stands with us, as does Saxony, Bavaria, and Brandenburg, and more. If you dare so much as move against our borders, the entire continent shall rise against you. And yet, it was too late. For the regiments had already crossed the Rhone... And yet, it was too late, for the regiments had already crossed the Ulm frontier. War, a great war indeed, was now inevitable. That's interesting. I do like to read AARs every now and then. You know, it feels like you're reading a brand new book, right? And anyone can write them, anyone can read them. It's just a great time, honestly. It just feels like a great time. So why not? Why not? It's totally cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, I know it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different than it usually is. I had no script for this. I'm going through this off the top of my head. I'm still going through the top of my head, and that's why all my words are kind of jumbled and stuff like that. But you know, I think this is a little bit of an interesting day. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this, and hopefully you learned something new, something from the past, maybe something to use in the future. I really want to use some of these cool things here. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this. This is Quarbit signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day.